Okay, hello everyone. Today we have an interview with Mr. Andrea Unger, the four times champion of Роббинса trading competition. So hello Andrea, nice to see you here on the interview.
Hi Stan, hi everybody, and thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, we have plenty of questions, and my community has plenty of questions to you there. Some of them think that you're like a Rocky Balboa, for them like a champion, 4 times a champion. So of course we have many questions. And the first question is that when you were trading in Роббинса competition, it was quite a long time ago. I'd say it was 2008, 2009, 2010. So did your trading change over the years? So if yes, how exactly?
The approach, no, it didn't change. The strategies, yes, they did. I've been an automated trader, and obviously back in 2008 and 2009, I was simply running strategies on an old version of TradeStation and then getting the orders on the order tracker and placing orders manually on the platform. Starting in 2010, it was possible to send the orders directly from my platform, which at that time was Ninja Trader.
Okay.
And today I trade completely automatically. So my platform is running today. I use multi-charts. It's running on a cloud server, and things are going on its own. So obviously technology evolved, but also strategies, because there has been a lot of changes, in my opinion, in the markets, in the way the markets move in this year. Also consider, for example, 2008, 2009, many commodities were at their very start in electronic trading.
Yeah.
And there was a deep change in those markets going on in the coming years. Imagine gold, silver, crude oil, the grains, all these were like children back in 2008 and 2009. It was a completely different world. Today, they are getting to their maturity, they are getting more efficient. So also the way to trade them changed, because some simple setups which worked in the past no longer work. At least they don't produce the profits you could expect. And you have to adapt your style to change the strategies accordingly and so on. So there's always a lot to do.
Okay, so can you tell that you are more the momentum trader rather than a mean reversion trader? So what approach do you gravitate to more? Because there are 2 ways to trade.
I was born as a momentum trader, a breakout to the end of the day or maybe overnight, depending on the markets. Today, I have a mix of everything, because it's a question of surviving. I mean, if you trade the classical breakouts, opening range breakout things or so, it's really hard to get them produce profits. You probably lose your money. So you have to understand which markets still respond well to breakouts, which market got to an efficiency level so that breakout trading is absolutely not good. And you have to create also the proper mix. Obviously, you have to consider also other factors. What time of day does the breakout work best? What time of day is it better to consider an entry to revert an existing trend and so on? All these answers come from investigation in the market, testing. And that's what I do. I keep on testing and trying to understand what the results of my tests are telling me, or better, what the market is suggesting me to do through my tests. Obviously, I'm not always smart enough to properly read all the answers. That's why I also lose money in the markets from time to time. It's normal. But we have always to stay tuned as much as possible to stay up to date on what the markets are doing. Just to consider, the mini S&P 500 is probably the most efficient market out there. If you trade breakouts there, you get lost.
But not last 3 weeks, I would say, or last month, because it had tremendous
of course. For a very long trend, you can do whatever you want. But if you trade on a hit and run thing, or even intraday, you have to trade on a mean reversion model on the mini S&P 500. While on crude oil, for example, you still can get some good profits if you trade on breakout, provided you do it in a clever way, because things do no longer work as simple as they did in the older years.
Yeah, exactly. I admit that breakouts are now working much worse dynamics than they were working maybe 5-10 years ago. And so I also adapted my breakout strategy. So I tried to enter not at the moment of the breakout, but prior to breakout, when price just leans to some level, 10-15 ticks, to gain the initial profit to protect my position. So I admit that.
Yes, the real question is, will the breakout lead to a trend or not?
Yeah.
Because if it does not lead to a trend, it doesn't matter if you enter before a breakout, after, on a pullback, because simply it will not go in the direction you imagine. If you understand this, which is obviously not a unique answer, there are many aspects and many shadows, as always in the market. But at least you know what way to trade should be the best to give you a comfortable expectation. You have to trade something that you expect to work properly for a decent period of time at least.
Do you have any set of criteria for choosing the markets? Because previously you told that you constantly monitor for the performance of your strategies possibly. Do you have any favorite markets, I would say, that you're trading for more than several years, or you are constantly switching between trading instruments and strategies?
I trade, I don't say all, but most of the tradable markets out there, where tradable means markets with enough volumes to make sure you don't stay there in the middle of nowhere when you want to enter or exit the market. So I trade all the major index futures in the US and in Europe. I also started trading some futures, index futures in Asia, because I think they are still very interesting also in respect of breakout trading. There are still some inefficiencies there which help in this direction.
Okay.
And I trade most of the commodities, all those with volumes. So I don't trade orange juice, for example, even though it's getting a bit more interesting. So maybe
it's a mess, I would say.
Candidates for the next 10 years. Yeah. And I trade currency futures. I don't trade Forex directly, just because I'm happy with the futures we have. I don't need.
It's the same chart after all. It's the same chart, the same product, but it's exchange traded product.
Yeah, okay. If you want to trade Euro Japanese yen, you have to create some mix up. But if you are happy with Euro, US dollar, British pound, Japanese yen, Australian dollar, New Zealandese dollar, I mean, you have a lot of them, so you can actually trade that.
So how many markets do you monitor, or do you have on your list, and do you have do you employ in your strategies? How many markets? Let's say 10, 20 markets, maybe more.
I ran an analysis last night, as I do usually, and I got 32 markets.
32 markets.
List. Yes, I'm saying this because this analysis also sums up all the strategies on a specific market to give you the result of a combined strategy on that market. So from this, I can understand if my strategies are overall bad in a specific market, which is telling me that market is probably changing its characteristics compared to what it was showing when I developed the strategies. Because if one strategy goes bad, okay, that model is no longer working or something, or it was a bad model. But if all the different strategies on one market go nuts, then I can understand that that market probably changed its behavior.
Yeah.
And so looking at the combined result on a specific market, I tend to evaluate what to do on that market. And the list was 32 markets.
32 markets.
All futures, all futures, and nothing else. I don't have stocks or Forex.
Okay, I see. Well, let's go slightly back in the past to the days of your foundation of your trading. And I will ask a question. Who had the profound effect on your trading? What is your foundation, your basis? Who were you learning from? I know that you were learning from Larry Williams. Maybe also you had other mentors or people that you learned from.
Actually, my mentor, if I have to choose a mentor for my history, is an Italian guy. You probably don't even know him, and his name is Domenico Foti. He's no longer on the spotlight now, and but he gave me the correct indication on how to develop strategies when I was struggling, because I started developing strategies trying to mix up all the possible indicators, and I was landing nowhere. Then he gave me the right tip. He said, okay, work with me and start developing on this very simple model. When I saw that, I couldn't believe it was that easy and simple. And it was back in 2002, 2003. But it was the right way to go. I went to California to attend Larry Williams' $1 million challenge in 2004. Mm-hmm. And I never traded anything Larry showed, but Larry was able to pass over to me the curiosity to investigate always. And he also gave me the right commitment and conviction that it could be done, because I saw him doing things. I saw him 3 days there placing trades and making money and analyzing what he was doing. So, I mean, I don't trade his stuff because it's simply not something I feel completely comfortable with in terms of approach. But he gave me the right motivation to keep on doing what I was doing and to try to do it better and better year after year.
Okay, I got that. Thanks. So then the next question is, did you adapt your trading to your ordinary life? Because that's the thing that is not so much discussed in trading community, because trading is quite stressful. It takes some time, but we have to find the balance between other activities outside of the markets and our trading. So algorithmic trading also gives such an opportunity to do that. So did you find this balance?
You should ask my wife. But I mean, actually, I think yes. First of all, I consider trading as a hobby. It's a passion. I love trading. I love to explore the markets, to understand. It's not about money. I mean, obviously, I have to make money out of trading because that's my job. But I really enjoy understanding what's going on out there. So it's a hobby, and I'm happy to do it during the day. I'm happy to study. That said, it's stressful. I confirm that, because when you lose money, you are never happy, and that creates stress. You never know how long the drawdown will last, so you get stressed out of it. But with algorithmic trading, you can actually distribute the efforts throughout the day when you want, because if you have to analyze something, you don't need to do it exactly on 11 o'clock in the morning, for example. You can do it whenever you have some time to do it. So you can organize your personal time. My priority, I think, is and remains my family. So I try to dedicate as much time as possible to my family. And trading is a hobby that I keep on running on a parallel way. I think I'm very lucky. If I were a scalper, I would probably have to dedicate more time sitting in front of a monitor. But now, for example, now in this moment we are talking, it's morning here in Italy where I live. My wife is at work, my kid is at school, other kids are already grown up and they are running their own lives. So actually, I'm sit here and I can study the markets, I can do what I have to do. Sometimes I go jogging because I have to get back in shape. I'm awfully out of shape now. So, I mean, I think it's a great life. I talk about stress, it's true, but I would be ashamed to talk about stress if I compare this to other kind of stress when you have to think about real problems. Because if stress becomes a real problem, I would simply stop trading. But this is me. I mean, there are people who can cope with stress the same way. So probably what I always say to those who come to me to ask, I say, first of all, find out if trading is something which can really be for you.
Yeah.
Because if you understand that you believe it's not, forget it. Nobody compels you to trade. It's better to stay out because you will make a lot of money avoiding the losses you would accumulate in trading.
Yeah, very much true.
Too many people think that trading is an El Dorado where you make money out of nothing. It's not like that. And to be aware of that and to understand if you can stay in that sort of business, not getting mad or crazy after the first week, is a way to understand what to do. It's very important, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay, then I have to ask you the next question. You have already 17 years in the markets, I'd say, if I count everything correctly.
18 probably, yes.
18, sorry. 18.
Yeah, between 17 and 18, let's say.
Okay. So, and of course, that's a big question for many traders, whether trading is for them, how much time does it take to become a trader, or should they quit and they're afraid if they quit now, they do not dedicate enough efforts for trading. So how long does it take to develop a trader, according to your experience, according to the people that you met or on your masterclasses? And also you have the project AndreaUnger.com, the school of trading, I'd say. So you also help traders to evolve. Yeah, you help traders to become traders, really. So you have to have some statistics about the trader development. How long does it take? How much does it take? And who can be a trader? Who cannot be a trader, according to your standpoint?
Well, it's harder to become a trader rather than not becoming a trader. I can tell you clearly, I'm not going out there promising the moon because I know there is no moon out there. Well, in my promotional material at the ungeracademy.com, I present the main course, something like delivery in 28 days, which is the time you require to go through the material and to properly digest it. But that's the time you need to absorb the material. Then there is a different time to put it in practice. And there is a big question mark if you can put it in a profitable practice.
Yeah.
So normally I can tell you that I believe to become proficient enough, it takes about 2 years, in my opinion, 2 years of study, of experience. Because when you study something, it might look complicated at the first approach, obviously because it's something new, but then it might seem easy because you think, oh, now I got the keys. But if I give you the keys of a Ferrari, it doesn't mean you can drive a Ferrari, of course. Maybe you can. I mean, but you need experience. You need to understand that. And that's different from man to man or from woman to woman. It's different also depending on the time you can dedicate to the study. I teach mostly automated trading. So what I do is I teach how to structure yourself the same way I am structured, how to develop strategies, how to find your way in developing strategies. And obviously, if you study 10 minutes a day, it's different compared to those who study 10 hours a day. Yeah. If you are extremely smart, you might be faster in learning compared to somebody who is not accustomed to studying, and so who can need more time. So it's very, very subjective, really. 2 years to become proficient enough, if you really dedicate yourself to it, if you're really committed, is an average period of time, I believe, should be put into consideration. And believe me, it's a very short period of time. So if you stay large and you believe that you will be good enough in 5 years, you are not on the wrong side. But this is not a shame, in my opinion, because what a shame is those who promise to become good traders in 1 month or 2 months, because if you consider this is a real business, it's a job. It's a job which needs to be learned as any other job. I don't think you will go for surgery as a medical doctor after studying a booklet in 1 month. Obviously, it's the same thing. I mean, with all the respect to more important jobs like being a medical doctor, of course. But in any case, you need to learn what you are supposed to do. And as you're putting your money into this, you have to be very careful.
Yeah. Yeah, because 2 years is a realistic time period, I think, that because some people think that it's 3, 4, 5 months or 6 months and they will become a trader as well. That's not really.
Or even less. Some people believe it. Some people still believe that is the trick, the secret.
Yeah, the
which,
secret.
Should be revealed. And some mentors promise the secret, which is
They think that
ridiculous.
it is a matter of knowledge, but it's not just about the knowledge. All knowledge is in the internet, actually. But how to combine it, how to make a systematic approach, how to be able to turn it into practice, that's a real challenge, I would say. So I completely agree with you. Yeah, about 2 years. Let's talk a bit about Роббин's trading competition. So it was quite 10 years ago, I guess. So how did you change your life? Many traders they want to win this competition. They every year they join the competition, but only a few are able to win, to join the best 5 standings there. So did it change your life? Maybe it had brought some important networking or the publicity?
Yes. To tell you the complete story, I decided to participate to the competition because my first desire was to become a mentor.
Oh, really?
When I'm a mechanical engineer, and when I graduated, I thought to work in university as a professor because I liked to interact and to teach. Then I didn't do it for many reasons, but I found out the opportunity in trading, doing the same. I first won a competition in Europe in 2005. It was a 3-month contest, and I already saw that I was interested in learning. So I thought that, okay, trading is associated to the United States of America, okay? So I have to win something there to become famous in the States, and then go to the States to teach. What shall I do? I will take part of this competition, which is the World Cup Trading Championships. And I did win it, but nobody cared. Actually, the first year was hard, and the second, it took a long time to establish the image, which was necessary. And if you consider the first year, I won with an astonishing percentage, 672%, 2008.
Yeah.
But that was 1 year. Other people got incredible performance in 1 year and so on. The funny story about which I told more than often is that the winner of 2007, Michael Cook, who is my best good friend now today.
I also know him, yes, by the way.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
And he was releasing an interview where he said that he would try to win the competition 3 years in a row because nobody ever did that. So when I read that and I won the 2008 contest, I said to my wife, listen, this guy says you should win 3 years in a row because nobody did that. So I could try. My wife immediately said, you are crazy, because she knew the level of stress I went through in 2008. But okay, if you want to do it, do it. And I did it. I mean, I did it for 3 years in a row. So Michael Cook, who wanted to do it, passed over the task to me. Still, after 3 years, it was difficult to promote myself as a good trader. Today, by the way, after winning the 4th contest in 2012, I stopped participating because the level of stress was really too high. And it's not about the stress of the money in there, because the money is reasonable. The accounts are small size compared to my personal trading. So that money is money I can easily lose with no real trouble. But it's the stress of being in the spotlight. It's the stress of being observed by the rest of the world. What is Andrea Unger doing in the competition? Let's look at the standings today. And the leaderboard coming out on a regular basis today is even worse compared to what was happening in 2008 or 9, where sometimes an update was coming out. So actually, the level of stress was, for me, in that case, it was too much stress. I'm less stressed in going through my trading compared to what I experienced in the competition. So I stopped competing and I'm trying to build on the 4 years victories, because what's different, in my opinion, from winning the competition and winning 4 times? I believe that winning 4 times should witness that you are a consistent trader, you are consistently profitable, you have something that could be applied to the markets in different conditions that is likely to make profits. 1 year can be luck. If you observe the leaderboard, sometimes you see guys coming up with incredible performances and then disappearing later on. Obviously, in a restricted period of time, you can have the killer trade that gives you the victory. But to replicate that the second, the third, the fourth year, that's not that easy, in my opinion. Of course, everybody can have his own opinions. So based on that, I built what is there today. But it took time, and it took also a cooperation with some good friends who helped me in all the promotion, because there is so much about trading and mentorship about trading that you have really to treat that as a business. And it is a business. It's an opportunity to build an educational environment around what you are able to do. I'm able to trade, so to build anything and to convince people that I'm really able to trade, that's not easy. And you need to focus on that as much as you do on trading.
Okay. So my next question would be around distinction between contest-based trading and the real trading, because some people don't really expect don't really know what to expect from trading, because they say, all right, hundreds of percentage annually is a norm, or it's a norm to gain, let's say, at least 10% a month. Let's say they say.
That's a norm, yes.
Yeah, that's it. I want to earn at least 10% a month. What is a realistic performance if you compare the contest returns to your real trading returns, or maybe someone else's real trading returns?
I measured last year. I measured my returns, and I checked the account I opened at my broker in March 2009. So I just took those statements, which is Interactive Brokers. I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying that it was easy for me to use the statements of that.
I also trade.
And I had a compounded rate of growth of 20% a year. Something more, 22, okay. 22%
a year.
That's the real trading.
That's the real trading.
The contest, you have 672.
So, of course, we're not talking about the $10,000 accounts or the similar.
Yes, that's the point. I would never trade with the same level of risk I'm taking the competition with my real account, because in the competition, you have to consider that you can wipe out your account. You have to take the risk. If your strategy works properly in that period of time, it's fine. But if it does not, because strategies can break down, then you might lose all the money that you are trading in the contest. And that is acceptable. It's not fine, but it's acceptable. But I would never like to lose all the money I have in my personal account. So obviously, I have to work with a much lower level of risk. Just to give you an example, on the competition, there were trades taken with even something around 20% level of risk. Okay. In my personal trading, I stay around 1.25% on daily risk pro strategy. So there is a huge difference. And I know you interviewed also Robbinsa, so you know how much it changes when you change a small level of percentage in these numbers. And from 1 to 20, there is an ocean of difference. So actually, it's completely different. And also in my personal trading, I treat it like more like, let's say, a net worth growth rather than a speculative trading, which is in the contest. The contest is a competition. It's the same difference as if you go jogging for your health every day, and if you want to participate and win the New York Marathon. So it's different, definitely different. And you cannot even take into consideration the performance of a winner of a marathon to what you achieve going out on Sunday morning and having a half an hour run. That's, again,
of course,
nobody would believe that. So why should you believe that you could achieve both performance in trading? It's the same thing, you know. Yeah,
really. Well, yes, like Ralph Vince said, everything depends on your position on the leverage space. And this position might be very aggressive on the contest and quite conservative in your own account.
Because it's a competition.
Yeah, it has to be not to be wiped out too early. Yes. As a mentor, as a trader with 18 years of experience, what would you recommend to those who are entering the markets now in 2019, this year, They have so many questions. They want to find the right path to go. So what would be your general advice? What to focus on, maybe? 3 basic things.
Don't do it. No, I'm kidding. I mean, obviously, the first point is, I always say, stay humble. You have to stay humble when you face the markets. Don't even believe closely that you can achieve, you can beat the markets, let's say. You have to stay at a very humble approach, because it's very difficult to figure out how to cope with the market. You have to understand what trading style is good for you. And you have to be very realistic with the expectations. Nobody can trade for a living starting with $1,000 account. It's not possible.
Yeah.
And you can easily calculate that if you run some simulation with percentages. If I'm telling you that I got a 20% compound rate, okay, you might be much better than me and you can achieve 40, 50, but still, based on that, you have to understand what your account size will be. So if you want to trade with $1,000, it's fine, but it's a hobby. You can do it on Forex, not because of the leverage, but because of the scalability to the downside. You can trade as small as you need on Forex.
Yeah.
But it will be only to build your experience. So, realistic expectation, understand what trading style, discretionary or automated. I believe that automated is easier to learn. I said more than once that, in my opinion, the best discretionary trader in the world will always beat the best systematic trader. But it's incredibly more difficult to teach how to trade discretionary compared to what it is to trade systematic.
Yeah.
Just because of the systems, you know, the approach, the methodology.
Yeah.
So I obviously try to push or pull, if you look at it from my Unger Academy point of view, people into the automated trading world, because I believe it's easier to learn something to do there. But you have to understand, I mean, maybe you are not one who can stand with the rules coming from a machine or so. So actually, that would not be for you. So I understand what you need, and consider that you have to study. Consider that you need to study to achieve something. There is no real secret. The secret is you have to study hard. And again, what I mentioned before, try to understand as fast as possible if trading is really something that can be for you. If you understand that you don't really feel comfortable trading, don't do it. In this case, really don't do it, because it could be a disaster. Being famous, let's say, I receive a lot of emails from people with problems, people who really got in trouble because of trading, people who lost a fortune, people who ruined their lives and their family's life. There is no solution for this. The only solution is to stop and forget about trading. Because once I read an email of a guy who said, I lost 300,000 euros in trading. Now I have only 1,000 euros left. What shall I do to recover the money I lost? How can I answer such a question?
Well,
it's impossible, because if I knew how to transform 1,000 euros into 300,000 euros, I would be richer than all the richest guys of the world together, obviously. So trading is dangerous. It's dangerous if you under-evaluate the risk, which is inside trading. So start studying if you really want to do it, and study everything which is related to trading. Don't think about only the setups. Setups are fine, but think about the risk, money management, everything that is around risk. And when you look at risk, always start from protecting your losses. Don't look at the compounding effect of money management, because you would become greedy. You see incredible things in backtesting, but then in real life, is it like that? It's never like that. So always consider position sizing as the way to save your account before thinking at it as the way to make it grow, because it's really dangerous. So stay humble, stay humble.
Yeah, thank you for the good advice. What do you think about the modern practices in algorithmic trading, like neural networks, like Python-based programming? This is the modern trend, I would say. So everybody wants to learn something about that. So what do you think about that?
I'm an automated trader, but I don't believe in this stuff so far. Maybe I don't know the right people, but so far I've never met anybody who is profitable going through neural networks, genetic algorithms, and things like that. And I'm not even aware of famous funds being profitable with that kind of stuff. So I don't mean it doesn't work. I think today we have not yet found the right way to make it work. I keep it in an angle, in a corner of my imagination, just as try to be there when it's time to be there. But today I'm still using my knowledge. So I use the power of the computer to speed up all the tasks that are necessary. But I want the driver to be a human being. In this case, me, for myself. But it's what I teach to my students as well. I believe that the computer can be useful if you are controlling it from above, you as a human being. Then, if machine learning becomes smart enough to understand what really works, I will be very happy to apply to it. I have an open mind. I'm ready to change my opinion anytime I got a real demonstration. A real demonstration is based also on my experience, because if tomorrow you call me and say, Andrea, listen, I got this incredible machine learning tool and I made profits for the last 30 days, every day, I will say, okay, come back in 3 years and they tell me if in 3 years you still make profits every day for 3 years. Then I will be interested in that. It may make me waste some time, of course, but as said, I am realistic. I know that there is no wonder tool out there. So whatever I do, I want to do it thinking that there is some real edge behind what I use. And I want to be convinced that the things really works.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. The previous, I would say, even 2 years ago, 2017, there was a tremendous growth or rise of cryptocurrencies and so many algorithms that were making 1% a day, I would say. They started to develop, and in 2018, they all disappeared. So that's the classical representation of this principle. So when the market is heavily bullish, everything works, I would say. You may call it the neural network or manual trading, algorithmic trading. Everything works if you just go in the right direction with the market. Yes, but in the long run, in a 3 years perspective, like you have said, it is very difficult to, well, everything becomes clear on this perspective.
Yes, I've been to China some time ago, invited to the local championships award ceremony. And I was talking to the traders there. They were all enthusiastic, but I believe that in China, there are still many markets responding well to the classical breakout things and so on, sort of 10 years ago here. So I said, be careful, because what works today might not work tomorrow. So all the performance you see today might disappear. So try to always keep your eyes open on what's going on in order to adapt if changes occur. I don't know who would be listening to me. I can't trade Chinese markets because I'm not Chinese. So there is a barrier in entering Chinese markets, but I would like to do it. I wish I could do it because they're interesting today. I don't know in 10 years. Let's see.
Yes, just like with
cryptocurrencies. Everybody thought to be the next Soros with Bitcoin the past year. Now, as you said, they all disappeared. There was no real edge. The only edge was that it was going up like crazy. It was.
By the way, I would say that many professional traders, they just skipped this rally of 2017 because they didn't really know how to manage risk in these circumstances. By the way, also traders like Linda Rushke and Michael, and they all they were away from this market because they could not figure out how to manage really risk in this situation.
If I didn't trade it, I mean, obviously I would have been happy to stay in there, sit from 2011 and make billions, but I didn't place a single trade. I didn't open any wallet because I didn't know what to do. I couldn't plan my trading because it was an unknown environment for me. And if I don't know what to do, well, I could do it like a gambling stuff. But in that case, I would put a small amount of money. So the reward would be small as well, because if you bet small, you don't make
of
a
course.
killer. So actually, it would be a waste of time for me. And for those who made millions, I'm happy for them. They were lucky. I don't think they were smart.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they were smart and I'm the stupid one, but as you said, many others disappeared. The very smart guy were those who entered at 0.01 and exited at 17,000.
Exactly.
I don't think how many are there anyway.
One trade in Russia, one trader which I know, in 2014, he had told us, you have to purchase at least Bitcoin for at least $10,000. Well, that's I call the good investment. But if we're talking about buying at 10 and selling it at 15, well, that's a completely different story, of course. Yeah. Oh, well, Andrea, thanks for the great conversation. Thank you for joining this interview, for your readiness, for what you have shared, for the ideas that you have shared. I hope that this interview would be useful for many traders, beginner traders. They will get a more realistic perspective of what to expect from trading and how to develop in trading. So I just take a note that all the links would be below this video to Andrea Unger Academy, ungeracademy.com, and all other links as well. So thank you, and have a good day, have a good trading, and I wish you to survive in these volatile markets today.
Yes, thanks, Dan. Thanks for your wish, especially. It's very hard, but I will try to do my best to be here also next year and the year after and the year after and so on.
Yeah, and like it is said in one movie, once a trader, always a trader.
Maybe, but I want to retire. I want to sit on the beach and forget about everything, actually. No, I'm joking. It's my hobby, so I like it. I like it.
Oh, I also like you're saying, sorry. I also like you saying that trading is a hobby, because if you treat trading as a hobby, you take away all those pressure from trading, the extreme pressure that you have to make a performance every day or every month. So there is not so much pressure when you treat it as a hobby. So that's, I would say, that's an interesting approach, an interesting perception of trading.
Yes, building ships in a battle is less expensive, maybe, but also trading can be a hobby.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, Andrea, thank you again. See you, and have a good trading.
Thank you for inviting me, and ciao to all the guys listening to this interview. Ciao.
Yeah. Ciao. Bye-bye.